Alright, what is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD123 here, back here in PlayStation Source, and we do have another studio joining the PlayStation Studios family, of course. That is Haven. And over here, before we get into any of all that good stuff here on the gameplay here, we got some Returnal Ascension, you know what I'm saying? I might do a stream here today. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. I'm doing a lot of work ahead of time before I leave on vacation, but y'all can check out that Returnal gameplay, and hopefully I'll be streaming sometime soon with a little bit of Returnal Ascension. You know what I'm saying? That Tower of Sisyphus has to be contained, you know what I'm saying? But yesterday we did get the announcement here that the Montreal-based studio Haven, this is of course led by Jade Raymond, who she was the producer of a lot of very iconic Assassin's Creed games in the past. She and her studio have been, well, not her, not that she's been acquired. Her studio Haven has been acquired by PlayStation Studios, and they are now officially first party within the PlayStation family. So first and foremost, I want to read what the blog had to say about this acquisition, as well as looking at some really cool concept art that we do have a little bit of info on this game, even though it is very early days in this game's development and everything. And then I want to talk about how I ultimately feel about this acquisition, because I know there's a lot of conversation online about whether this was organic growth, etc., whether this was something that was, you know, fueled by the Xbox acquisition spree that we've been seeing on the other side. But let's go over, you know, what was said here by Hermen Hulst. He says here, quote, "Today I'm delighted to announce that Haven Studios is officially joining PlayStation Studios. Jade Raymond brings a wealth of experience from her industry achievements and an infectious passion for creating games. And the leadership team at Haven is an equally impressive group of industry veterans who have collaborated on some of the biggest and most beloved games and franchises that many of us still enjoy today. We began working with Jade and her team in early 2021 when they were on the brink of announcing the formation of Haven Studios. From their first pitch, we were inspired by Haven's vision for creating a modern multiplayer experience that brings gamers together in positive and meaningful ways. We were confident in their creativity and technical expertise to deliver on such an ambitious project, and we're thrilled to invest in their journey developing a new original IP for PlayStation. We've had the privilege of working closely with Haven this past year and have been impressed by the studio's growth and progress. So now, particularly on the anniversary of when we made our partnership official, it's especially exciting to formally welcome them into the PlayStation family. We can't wait to see what the future holds for Haven Studios." And so that is pretty much all we got there, you know what I'm saying? And the one thing I want to highlight that I think is pretty interesting here is that they say, well, you know, Hermen said here in this readout that he was impressed by not only the studio's growth, but the progress as well. And so this may point to, hey, you know, overall, it's a multiplayer game, right? So the overall, you know, game itself might not be something that would take necessarily 4 years of development time like a Horizon Forbidden West, like a God of War Ragnarok, right? So it might be a little bit more of a tighter overall development time, which could mean that we could be seeing this something as early as, I would presume, maybe fall of next year. Maybe I'm overstepping my bounds there. Maybe that's totally not practical, but I just wanted to, you know, at least take note that they did mention that they were impressed by the studio's overall progress on their game. And so the only other new thing that we got here from this was a direct letter from Jade Raymond. Nothing really crazy here to say, you know what I'm saying? Like, she just is saying that she's very excited, you know, to work with PlayStation, this and the third. But the one thing I do want to point out here is exactly how she described the new game being developed at Haven Studios for PlayStation. She says here that it is, quote, "Our first new IP for PlayStation is on track to deliver a AAA multiplayer experience with a vision to build a systemic and evolving world focused on freedom, thrill, and playfulness that will keep players entertained and engaged for years." And so on top of that, a few months ago, I didn't even make a video about this. I totally, you know, forgot this came up, but as I was doing more research on this game, I found this article where Jade talks about primarily the 3 pillars that she is excited for in gaming as a whole, as well as the 3 pillars that these also reflect, which are the core kind of notions of the game that they are making at Haven. She says the first one is creating a game as a social platform where people can make friends and hang out. The second one is thinking about the quote remix generation, where people are very interested in designing their own shoes, for example, on Nike ID, or making TikToks that have established sounds and premises from different memes and different jokes that persist around the internet and different stuff like that. So like essentially like user generated content, you could say, as well. And then the third pillar is creating new IP that can last generations and has depth. And so you put that all together, it's going to be a multiplayer experience that does have some interesting things involving users being able to make their own content and remix their own content and different stuff like that based off other stuff as well, which I'm curious about what that all means in the grand scope of this game as well. But I guess we'll have to see, you know, when we get more info on the game. But we did have an update on their website that does have some really cool artwork about the game. And so this could be our first look at Haven Studios' new game, and I would say pretty much it is, like, even though this is concept art. And you know, while I'm not one to be completely over the moon and hype up concept art like other people, you know what I'm saying, I'm not gonna point no names, you know what I'm saying, we can look at this, you know, and just make some interesting things that we can draw here from this concept art, even though I'll be waiting for gameplay, of course. But we see this broken down city here on this beautiful like looking sunset or sunrise type thing, and it is already looking futuristic to me, at least specifically. And so we have some of these like domed buildings that look to be observatories that observe the night sky. So now I'm thinking a little bit sci-fi. We go to this next picture here where we have this, you know, building built into the side of a mountain, right? We got some palm trees, very interesting stuff there, some interesting architecture that is built into the actual environment of this world. We have nothing really here, just some, I guess, deep cavern that has sunlight seeping in from the top. Nothing really crazy to write home about there. But in this last one here, we finally see some people here where they have, it looks like maybe 4 individuals, right? So does that mean that it's going to be a 4-player game? Maybe. We'll definitely have to see. But they are, you know, seeming to be looking into this circular kind of tunnel looking thing, right, with some water on the ground, and there is a flashlight that one of them is holding, and there seems to be 4 people over there as well. Very interesting stuff here. Does this mean that it is going to be 4 players? You know what I'm saying? We will have to see when the full details come out, but that is at least some content art that we got about this game. And so the last thing I want to read here, and before we get into what I feel overall about this acquisition, is a quote here that they directly, you know, just bring up and straight up just answer the question, why buy Haven now? You know, why did Sony buy Haven Studios now? They have not put out the game. We don't have a trailer. All we have is concept art, and technically we did not have concept art when they announced the acquisition. And they are a mostly unproven studio that is a brand new studio over there at Canada, which is also another thing I want to bring up too, is that is a really good thing for them, specifically because they have not had a Canadian studio until this point with Haven. So they're able to tap into that really well established Canadian game development market over there in Canada, like in Montreal and Quebec, where there's a lot of other people that are there right now in terms of game development, like Activision Blizzard, EA, Microsoft, Nintendo, Sega, Square Enix, Tencent, Take-Two, and Ubisoft. And so PlayStation is now there as well. So they're able to tap into that development pool and get a lot of really cool talent that could work at Haven potentially as they grow and expand. But the real question is, why did they buy Haven now, right? And Hermen Hulst says here, quote, "You're right. We could have just carried on in capacity of them being an external development partner," acknowledges PlayStation Studios head Hermen Hulst. "But what Haven has created is so exciting for us, there was just a desire to deepen that relationship. We have been very impressed with how Haven is coming together. It's just easier for us to invest in the team and game more deeply this way. It's a testament to the fact we've been very impressed with the progress that Haven has made. They're actually exceeding a lot of the plans, including in terms of time, which very rarely happens in game development, let me tell you. So we thought, let's invest deeply and do this properly." So we even have Hermen Hulst here saying, you know, that they are exceeding a lot of the plans in terms of the timeline as well of game development at Haven Studios, right? So they seem to be making progress at a very rapid pace that is definitely inclining that, you know, was something that was very beneficial for Hermen Hulst and PlayStation as a whole, right? So where do I stand on this, right? I do feel that this game will benefit a lot from Bungie being acquired as well, which we have not even talked about on the channel yet. I got so busy around that time and then I was not able to talk about it, but at some point let me know, do y'all want me to talk about Bungie? Because I do have some thoughts about it, but they're not like the most revolutionary thoughts about that acquisition. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you want me to talk about Bungie in the future. But I do feel that Bungie will help a lot with this studio and what they are set out to do with this AAA multiplayer game and everything. But ultimately where I'm at is I have high expectations for this game now, okay? They are talking a very big game here. They are having a lot of quotes here, and on top of that, they're having a lot of quotes involving the timeline of this game, okay? So I now think that it is not out of the realm of possibility that we could potentially see this game this year. Not release it, right, but see it, right, in a very real way with some gameplay. I'm low-key thinking that that is something that could be a possibility given how they are talking about this game and how quickly it is coming along. And on top of that, right, like, you know, Hermen Hulst even says here, right, that they could have kept Haven Studios at what we would call traditionally a second party relationship, right, where they have a funding from Sony and their IP is going to Sony exclusively, right, but they are not going to be first party in the true sense of being acquired, right? Think of how Insomniac used to be with the majority of the Ratchet & Clank games of To Ripped Apart. Think about Housemarque and how they did Dead Nation and was even a launch title with PS4 for Resogun, and then now are finally acquired with Returnal. Think about that, right? That could have easily been Haven, and the fact that Hermen Hulst is citing here that they saw the quality of this game and how fast it was being developed, and that is what inclined them to just overall make it easier for them to just purchase them right now to further invest and grow this game. I have very high expectations because I do feel that the PlayStation Studios first party mark is nothing to shy about. It is not something that I don't feel should be passed around willy-nilly, right? Like, I think that if you are going to be at a PlayStation Studios mark, there is a level of quality that you have to meet. And this studio, based on what Hermen Hulst is saying, is going to be applicable with that PlayStation First Party Studios mark. And so that's where I'm at, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. That's been all the info about Haven and everything. But, you know, to wrap it all up, I have very high expectations for this game, not only in the quality of this game, but the timeline as to when this game will be released and when we will see it. You know what I'm saying? Will we see it this year? I think it's a possibility given how they're talking here. But we will have to see when we get more info. But down below, guys, what are your thoughts on the Haven Studios, on the, you know, info that we got about the game and everything? What are your thoughts on them being acquired by PlayStation? Do you feel that we will see it this year potentially? Let me know all your thoughts down below in that comment section. While you're down there, check out that description. You can find links to our Discord, our Twitter, and our Anchor link that you can listen to our Road to podcast series on podcast services like Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, etc. via the Anchor link down below in the description. Of course, Road to Forbidden West, the review end of the Road to Forbidden West series, and of course the spoiler casts are all going to be jumbled into one podcast. Will you get it this Sunday? That is a TBD, but I will let you all know as soon as it is recorded. Thank you all for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed it, as well as subscribe to PlayStation Source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you all for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.